7.1. Here that we are live right now. How's the audio sound? No audio? Do you have the audio turned on for the video? Okay, then let's go ahead and give 1 minute for people to start checking in, make sure we've got people able to watch us real quick. And then, okay, so for the beginning of the night, we have a zoning and planning meeting of the board. So I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:44 p.m. on 7/14. Jason Quickett, roll call please.
Shirley Burgorn.
Here.
Brian Whitley. Here. Jessica Mendoza.
Here.
Conrad Levinsky.
Here.
Jordan Durkson.
Here.
Camille Wilcox.
Here.
Linda Wolfard.
Here.
Tom Green.
Yes.
Jason Heck.
Present and accounted for. So moving forward, we've got a petition for map amendment to the R3 multifamily residence zoning district. The PIN numbers are before you. It's otherwise known as 335 North Wooster Street and an adjacent vacant lot. Tom, if you'd like to go into that a little bit.
Sure. Petitioners aren't here, so I'll just summarize the project. Owners of Wooster Street, the address is 335 North Wooster. This property was previously zoned residential. In fact, foundations before, I think you're all aware of this, foundations before, there are foundations on the property. It ultimately got changed to light industrial and was in a different ownership. So this development group has now acquired the property, is looking to develop on the foundations that are there. They want it zoned back to R3. Ryan Wood's been working through the process with them, and we've been working with them on some issues, and it seems like a very natural request. So I don't see any reason not to go forward with it. It's up to you guys to.
Thank you.
What you need is any questions that we can answer, but then a motion to recommend approval to the board, and then it's on the board agenda tonight.
So before we go ahead and ask for recommendation of approval, are there any questions concerning this property and the rezoning and the amendment to this property lot?
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
What are they gonna do with the problem with flooding over there?
We've talked with them extensively. That was actually tackled before we even got to that point, to this point here. Basically, they're gonna take the adjacent lot they're looking to rezone as well. That's gonna be used for retention. And then one of the areas that they originally were gonna use as a foundation for another property, or building rather, they're gonna turn into a retention area as well. And so we're looking at least, I believe, 2 retention areas on site, and then also proper drainage, leading to the proper systems as well throughout the property.
Yeah, Strand through Ryan Wood is, there's a site plan here. One of the foundations was actually removed. They have to have on-site detention here and on-site detention on the south side, so.
Yeah,
The previous-
I blew that up so I could see it.
Yeah, the previous plan was 15 years ago, a long time ago, and I don't think that was addressed, but it's now definitely addressed.
So Ryan and I have gone back for quite a bit on this one. I think we've kind of met a happy middle ground that'll meet the needs of that property, and then won't saturate the surrounding properties as well from the output from, obviously, repurposing and then finishing the property as shown. Does that answer your question? Yes or no, maybe?
Yeah.
Are there any other questions concerning the property?
What exactly are they building there?
They're building a couple multi-tenant, multi-unit, housing structures. We're looking at, I think, condos.
Townhouses.
Yeah,
Kind of like
townhouses, condos,
similar
yeah.
to the design at the end of Fifth Street. I don't know if you've been up the end of Fifth Street.
Yeah, and so I think originally they're looking at 1 or 2 of those to begin with, and then once that kind of takes off, they're looking at possibly putting in another 1 or 2 per the site plan. But as for right now, we can expect possibly 2 of them for the most part. I think that's correct.
Yeah, there's 4 buildings total, 2 smaller, I think, are 4 families, and then
It's not gonna do anything surrounding with the flooding? Nothing?
No, and that's why we're hoping, after Ryan talked with them, that these two retention areas and the way they've kind of addressed it now, it'll help with that flooding, and it actually might alleviate some of the issues back there right now due to the fact that it's just been kind of gravel and flat open areas for as long as it has been. So we might hopefully even see a slight improvement, but there's no guarantees. At least it's not supposed to make it worse, according to the engineers.
No, we all know how engineers are.
Are they gonna have a road into that?
They're gonna have a parking lot. It's not really necessarily going to be a road.
The entire interior is all private drive, but
Yeah.
it'll have to have sufficient parking, it'll have to have an entrance, you know.
Yeah, but nothing we will be responsible for at any part in it at all. That's gonna be up to
So we
the.
don't have to plow or anything?
No, that is gonna be the property owner's responsibility to maintain that, plow that, take care of that, and go from there. Any additional questions? Now is the time. Okay, then I'd like to ask for a recommendation of approval of the rezoning and the map amendment.
I'll make a motion to petition for the map amendment.
And if I can get a second recommendation on that.
I'll second.
Okay, Jason, let's go ahead and do roll call vote, thank you.
Shirley Burkhorn,
No.
Ryan Wakely,
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Levinsky,
Aye.
Jordan Dorkson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
No,
Linda Wolfart.
Aye.
Okay, majority rules, motion carries, and it has, the recommendation does move forward. I guess we'll have to leave a couple minutes here for public comment then. As it stands right now, it is 6:50 PM. We'll give it to 6:53. I think we're only a few seconds behind. That should give us time to let people comment if they'd like. And then I guess while we're here, if I could, I'm just kind of slightly curious at the no's we had on the board, if you don't mind discussing it or your position on why you chose to vote that way. I would just like to understand it, moving forward.
I'm afraid that it'll be just like, Virginia courts. We've had engineers and all that, and we got the go-ahead to build that, and when there's a heavy rain, it floods over there. And then we end up getting sued.
So I would like to say that we have not been sued by Virginia courts or anybody over there at all. Like we have not, and there's no liability of us being sued for this property either.
Virginia court's quite older.
It's significantly so, and there's I think a significant elevation difference as well, that we are not going to see with this property. This property does rest much higher and is actually on one of the higher points on that in the town. Additionally, so I don't think flooding there is going to be an issue. Was that your only concern, or?
Mainly, yes.
Okay, well, I mean, is there other concerns? I would like to know, just so we move forward, maybe keep that in mind, something we can review before the vote, and then we can maybe address it during the review process or design and stuff like that.
Well, what happens when we have a really, okay, we have I've got the flooding in my mind.
Mhm.
We have 2 retention ponds, they have drainage, where's that drainage gonna go?
Well, it's a retention pond, and so
Right.
hopefully it should alleviate and allow it to saturate the ground before it just goes down the street. And arguably, that end of town has probably some of the most developed, or second most developed stormwater system in Capron, only second to the southwest part of town.
I know currently,
Yeah.
all that water goes behind and down.
Yeah, and I understand that, and that's kind of why we've got 2 retention ponds that we mandated be installed and after engineer review be put in to help alleviate that problem. Like I said, we're hoping that the situation will even get better after the development than before. So I can't guarantee it's going to get better, but I hope it would.
Well, it's kind of the job of the engineer to make sure the
Yeah.
on-site detention just has no additional impact on any surrounding property owners, and in fact, if anything, improves the impact on surrounding property.
Yeah.
That's
Is
the
there a
job
way
to do that.
they can do the retention pond first before they even start building, just to see, like, if the flooding or rain or anything
I
goes?
think that's kind of happening simultaneously with the build. It
Okay.
is.
And it is.
Yeah.
And really, it's the non-permeable surfaces that cause, that require, if there's a lot of pavement,
Right.
and water doesn't seep into that, and it has to be graded such that it goes into the ponds and then is retained in the ponds and has infiltration, although I'm sure there's outlet, whatever the natural flow would be, that's a question.
Yeah, for the engineer, which we can discuss with them, at length too, but they should be doing it, and the kind of goal, and at least our understanding right now is that's gonna be implemented with the building of the properties. And them only doing 2 at a time is gonna kind of slowly introduce us to what it's going to help with, and so there might be some consideration down the road as they look to further develop. Trustee Wilcox, if you don't mind, if you don't want to, that's fine, but I was just curious.
How many units are there in total?
I believe there's gonna be 2 total buildings at the beginning with 4 units per structure. And so it's almost identical to what you're seeing at North Street there, North Fifth, where it's a unit with 4, I think, multi-story units in there.
I thought Tommy said there were 8.
Oh, there's 2 floors up front.
Yeah, 2 floors up, so it's 8
2 other
units, yeah.
foundations are slightly larger than that, but I
Yep.
can't say if that's a 6-family or an 8-family.
Yeah.
And they're all going to own
It
these
doesn't really
units, or they're going to
I
rent?
have no idea what the plan is once they develop them. We're
My
just
issue has always been rentals in this town,
Mhm.
because people move in, it just ends up being an eyesore.
I think these are gonna be like,
Look
so
across the street.
has everyone been down North Fifth Street? Like, and actually seen the condos, the end North Fifth Street?
And the condos are owned.
I think, yeah, but we're looking at almost, as far as I can tell, an exact design or a very similar design to those.
We are
That's what we're
talking
looking at.
locally owned development.
Yeah. So I know that the developer owns property now, they're gonna be building on the property. I know there was talk of selling them if they could. I don't know if that's the final, what's gonna happen or not. But it's gonna look almost identical or very close to North Fifth Street. If you haven't been
Well-
down there, please take a look.
As somebody who lives on North Fifth Street and has the condominiums down it, for some reason, within the last 2 months, just about every other week or so, there's 2 to 3 squad cars down the street on a regular basis.
I don't know, I'm not there, I haven't heard that, so I can't attest to that.
Well, I'm not gonna call the village hall and say, hey, there's cops down the street.
So-
But that is also a concern.
Okay, thank you. I think we can go ahead and move forward at this point. We have no audience comments. If I can get a motion to adjourn the meeting, or the hearing rather.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
If I can get a second on that,
I'll second.
and then Jason, let's go ahead and do a roll on that as well.
Shirley Burkhart,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely,
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Levinsky.
Aye.
Jordan Dorkson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolf.
Aye.
Okay, moving forward, letlet's go
What was
ahead.
that time, Conrad?
Sorry? Oh, the time was 6:56 PM. We'll go ahead and just roll right into the next meeting unless anybody needs a break before we do so. If not, everyone could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:57 PM. Jason, let's go ahead and have roll call again, thank you.
Shirley Burkhart,
Here.
Ryan Wakely. Here. Jessica Mendoza,
Here.
Conrad Levinsky.
Here.
Jordan Dorkson,
Here.
Camille Wilcox,
Here.
Linda Wolfhard,
Here.
Tom Green,
Here.
Jason Hacker.
Okay, if I can get a motion for approval of the agenda.
Um,
Actually, real quick, with a couple amendments to it, we did have a couple changes with the PIN numbers. Everything is correct, the ordinances are correct. What we're looking at is 7.1, the PIN is 0402400013, and that's represented everywhere else. So we're just amending that. And then if you move down to 7.5, at the very last number, it should be 0402351035. And so that's, if I can, I'd like for a motion for approval of the agenda with those amendments to it.
I'll make a motion.
If I can get a second on that.
One second.
Jason, let's get roll, thank you.
Shirley Burkhart,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely.
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Levinsky.
Aye.
Jordan Dorkson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfhard.
Aye.
Okay, moving forward, this is again another particularly large month with the billing. We've got the water main, some of the water main breaks on here, we've got other things, end of year stuff. This is kind of tying over from the last fiscal year. We did have those breaks in meetings as well. That's kind of why we're looking at the figures we are, so it's kind of doubled up in some instances. So just bear that in mind. If I can get a motion for approval of the bills,
I'll make a motion.
if I can get a second,
Second.
thank you. Jason, let's go ahead and do roll.
Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely. Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Levinski.
Aye.
Jordan Dorson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfart.
No.
Okay, moving forward to open issues. I do not believe there's anything at this time. Do any of the board members have anything to present under open issues or topics that are carrying over from prior meetings? If not, we'll go ahead and move forward. Kind of a full docket today. Nothing too crazy. We've talked about this before. We knew these ordinances were gonna be on here. Some of these were from the prior improvements in the hearing we had as well that need to be approved. And some of these are, of course, just like the ordinance and the map amendments for the property we just discussed. And then if we go down to the bottom, let's see, we will tackle that in a moment with the Dollar General property. So moving to ordinance 20-6, this is an ordinance approving a map amendment to the C2 Commercial Zoning District for real property identified generally as a portion of PIN 0402400013. This has to deal with the Dollar General. We discussed this last week, we got the recommendation for approval last week, and this is just an ordinance to finalize that amendment. So if I could, if there's no discussion, can I get a motion for approval of ordinance 20-6?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 20-6.
If I can get a second,
I'll second it.
Jason, roll, thank you.
Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely.
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Levinski.
Aye.
Jordan Dorson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfart.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries as approved. Moving forward, we've got an ordinance 20-7, an ordinance approving an annexation agreement between the Village of Capron, Mark and Lisa Priest LLC, and Capron DG LLC for real property identified generally as a portion of PIN, again, 400013. So the same PIN we just discussed, this is again just the annexation that we already approved at the prior hearing. So if I can get a motion for approval of ordinance 20-7.
I'll make a motion.
If I can get a second,
Second.
Jason, roll. And we had a second from Ryan on that one.
Ryan, okay, I heard two.
Yeah.
Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely. Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Levinski.
Aye.
Jordan Dorson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfart.
Aye.
Motion carries, and then now we have ordinance 20-8, which is an ordinance annexing the real property identified as 40013 to the Village of Capron. So it's the annexation agreement was the prior ordinance, and now this is the actual annexation under 20-8. So if I could, can I get a motion to approve ordinance 20-8?
I'll make a motion.
If I can get a second?
Second.
Okay, and then Jason, roll when you're ready.
Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely.
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Levinski.
Aye.
Jordan Dorson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfart.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Okay, so moving on to 7.4, we'll have a little bit of discussion here. But it's a consensus for board pre-approval of site plan and final plat review contingent on further department reviews and updates as necessary. And so we have Alex again here tonight, he's gonna discuss it a little bit. What we're looking right now is a contingent pre-approval. We're finalizing some things, but this will allow them to move forward with the purchase of the property, finalize details on their end, and will help us fast track it a little bit. So Alex, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you everyone for allowing me to come up tonight. Like Conrad said, we're, I'm Alex Fraser with Hurley Stewart, represent the developer of this Dollar General project. And what we're asking tonight is for a conditional approval of the site plan and the plat of survey. So we haven't made many revisions to the overall site plan since our last meeting. We have tweaked some sidewalks, maybe a little wider on each side, and added some additional information as requested by the engineer, and also done some utility improvement and adjusted some items to their comments. And we think we're about 90% of the way through addressing these comments. And essentially what we're asking for consideration tonight is conditional approval. Once we get final approval from the engineer, questions or discussion, I'm glad to answer questions.
Does the board have any questions at all concerning this or what we're kind of moving forward with?
Are they gonna put like a crosswalk or anything for the people to go across the street there
So,
on 173?
We've talked about that a little bit. That's IDOT's territory. That's not something the village would do. That's typically not something that you guys would do either. I think we discussed it a little bit.
And it doesn't say it doesn't need it.
Yeah, and that's honestly not something I would even recommend attempting to do. I would not want to encourage people to try and cross 173 at that point of the road. It's close enough, it's not a bad drive, it's definitely very, accessible. So as far as a crosswalk goes, that's not even something I'd like to kind of dive into, because I think it encourages people crossing a state highway, which is inherently dangerous, especially in that section of road due to the trees and overgrowth and things like that.
Yeah, generally they frown upon a crossing at where we don't have another street, so like an off-block crossing is one of the terms they use. Just because drivers aren't expecting to see someone
Right,
crossing there.
okay, thank you.
So, we have submitted plans to IDOT and got some comments back today. We're gonna revise our plans later this week and hopefully get their full approval. And then one of the revisions actually we have to make to the plat is to add a few pieces of information.
Alright.
But we have had that reviewed by the village as well.
Will there be a turn off?
Like a turn lane, we had a traffic study conducted and it found that one is not required.
Okay.
They went out and analyzed, took counts of the vehicles and analyzed the use based on their peak hour. I mean, a lot of these stores nationwide, so they have a really good idea of what kind of traffic it'll see, and ran an analysis and determined that they don't require any sort of turn lane. And I actually, in their comments today, agreed with our consultant.
Yeah, we had a store across the street, just a little bit down from there for probably 40+ years, and we never had any turn lane or anything.
Yeah, it's kind of it's open area, I mean, there's a little bit of a curve, but still, the sight distance is pretty good there, so I think that was one of the biggest factors, that people turning in and out, you can see coming this way from a pretty significant distance down the road, so.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Is there any further questions or discussion? If not, I'd like to ask for a consensus for a pre-approval of the site plan and final plat review contingent on further department reviews and updates as necessary.
I'll make a motion.
If I can get a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, Jason, let's go ahead and do roll call.
A lot of this tonight. Shirley Burkhorn.
Aye.
Ryan Wakely.
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza.
Aye.
Conrad Levinsky.
Alright,
Jordan Dorkson.
Aye.
Camille Wilcox.
Aye.
Linda Wolfhard.
Aye.
okay, moving to 7.5, we had an ordinance 20-9. Now, this is what we just discussed with the previous hearing. We're just gonna roll right into the approval of a map amendment, which we found a recommendation of approval for. So if I could, can I get a motion to approve ordinance 20-9?
Make a motion.
If I can get a second?
I'll second.
Jason, roll when you're ready.
Shirley Burkhorn.
No.
Ryan Wakely.
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza.
Aye.
Conrad Levinsky.
Alright,
Jordan Dorkson.
Aye.
Camille Wilcox.
No.
Linda Wolfhard.
Aye.
motion carries with majority. Okay, moving forward, we have resolution R-120, a resolution approving the final plat of Countryside Subdivision. And then we've also got R-220, which is a resolution approving a permanent right-of-way easement agreement between the Village of Capron, DK, and BNLCC. Tom, would you like to talk to that at all? Is there anything we need to make a special note of there, or? We're on 7.6 right now.
I don't have any particular comments on the final plat, it's a very basic document. So, just moving forward with the development.
Okay, and so this is the development, again, we just discussed in the hearing as well, and it's just a plat of that, which we've had some, I guess, significant discussion on leading up to this point, before we finally came to agreement, where we're looking at what we are right now with the documents before you. So unless there's any discussion or questions there, which now would be the time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve resolution R-120.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And then Jason, roll call when you're ready.
Shirley Burkhorn,
No.
Ryan Wakely,
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Lubinski,
Alright,
Jordan Dorson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
No.
Linda Wolfhard.
Aye.
majority, motion carries, the resolution is approved. And then, and this is just establishing a permanent right-of-way easement between the village of Capron and that said property again. So if I could get a motion to approve resolution R2-20.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution R2-20.
Thank you, Linda. If I can get a second.
Second.
All right, and then Jason, roll when you're ready.
Shirley Burkhorn,
No.
Ryan Wakely,
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Lubinski,
All right,
Jordan Dorson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
No.
Linda Wolfhard.
Aye.
okay, motion carries. And then moving on to resolution R3-20, a little bit different, changing pace now. A resolution approving the use of MFT funds in the amount of up to $95,000. Now, Jason, I think we're currently sitting at 200,000 plus in our MFT funds?
Correct.
Okay, this has been something we've been working on with county. This is the East Street development and then also Burr Oak development as well. We're approving up to $95,000, so that way we can cover the expenses for the material, the aggregate, everything that was needed in order to make those improvements. There's a chance we might not spend as much, but we'd like to make sure we're covered up to that point in case it does come a little bit above expectations. Is there any questions concerning that? I think everybody's seen the new roads in town. They actually did come out pretty nice.
Are they gonna still do the patch where the hole is though by Casey's?
I know, it's terrible, that's the only part they didn't do.
Yeah, well, and that's part of the, I guess, we're waiting on patching that. We had talked to other companies to come in and do that patchwork. We only had them come as far as Ogden, just because Ogden's about to be tore up for the water main project.
Right.
And we don't wanna keep going there and tear stuff up, so that's something we're gonna have to address at a different time. They're
Okay.
not doing that one in particular, so.
So they can just put gravel in there for now or something to help
Well,
people?
the agreement we've got with county will have nothing to do with that pothole. That pothole will have to be addressed on a completely
It
separate
doesn't matter
matter.
what you do, that pothole, it just tears away every
Yeah,
time.
and so
Okay.
that's something we're looking, and as people have probably seen, a lot of IDOT engineers have been out here lately and all up and down 173. That's something that we're gonna try and take care of in the intermediary, hopefully patch it, do something to help it kind of keep, but we're not gonna do significant improvements until they
Right.
come through on 173.
Okay.
So this is only for the blacktop that you currently see in place, that's been done, that's been brand new, is what this is for.
Well, I'll make a motion for accepting resolution R3-20.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Jason, roll call.
Shirley Burkhorn,
Aye.
Ryan Wakely,
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Lubinski,
Aye.
Jordan Dorson,
Aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfhard.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Okay, moving forward, trustee Wilcox, is there anything you'd like to discuss?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Trustee Dirksen?
Nothing really, other than if there's, I'm just wondering if there's kinda anything that, that the board would like to request of me, I guess. There's,
No, that's totally fine, go, please continue, yeah.
I mean, there was mention of solar, at the last meeting. I don't know if we wanted, if there,
Say, I'll walk the project with them, look into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know, I think,
Connor was
yeah.
looking into it.
yeah, if you guys would like to look into that, and then maybe on top of that, you guys could kinda look into the speed bump, speed signs a little bit more
Yeah.
like we discussed last
Yeah.
year. So maybe if you two could kinda tag team those efforts, I think that would definitely be something, worth the effort. It would help benefit the community for sure.
Yeah, I think I still have all the quotes and
Okay.
prices for all the speed bumps and everything, and signs and whatnot yet. So-
No, awesome, so I guess whatever information you need, Jason's at your disposal. If you wanna talk about facilities and wattage usage, so maybe we get some numbers on solar, I think that's great, move forward with it. And then in maybe next meeting or the following, we'll talk about it then, if that sounds good.
sounds good.
Awesome, thank you. Is there anything else, trustee Dirksen?
No, thank you.
No, of course. Trustee Wolfarth?
I just had a question. I noticed we posted today that Jason is gonna be leaving the office, and, so I guess I just was curious.
So, it's something I've kind of mulled over for a little bit now, and Jason expressed interest in the past in working with the Public Works Department. And so, kind of him knowing the ins and out and being familiar with the city and our needs right now and his past interest, I thought he'd be a good candidate. And then we could look for somebody to fill the clerk's position, especially as the clerk's position continues to grow in responsibility. We definitely could use additional help there as well as additional help with Public Works. Jason would still be interim, kind of our assistant with the office as well. So if we ever needed a deputy to kind of fill in, he could do that role. He can kind of be our go-between for that. And so after some significant consideration, I figured that he could best help the village and best help us move forward and continue to grow in a new capacity as a maintenance technician with our Public Works and Waterworks departments, and then also help us grow the office as we bring in another possibly fresh face to look at it from a new perspective and help us tackle the new challenges we've got there. And then we wanted to move forward now before we got into the election season and a lot of the responsibilities that come with that, since it would be a very hard time to start, moving forward at that point and replacing that.
But he won't leave until we actually get somebody in there.
Oh, no, he will not leave this office until we get somebody in. I would like to have somebody hired end of month. And so that way we can kind of roll them into the new election season and the new fiscal year, and especially as we start the new, that whole new process, they can come in and kind of help that
Okay.
transition as well.
So congratulations then, that was my only question.
Yeah, of course,
I
no.
just wasn't sure.
No, by all means, thank you.
That was all I had.
All right, thank you. Moving forward. Trustee Berghorn, I believe you have a couple updates for us.
Yes, our grit chamber effluent valves have finally arrived. They are at the plant, in the wastewater treatment plant. We did have to call in Sable Mechanical to do some repairs. June 16th, we had another water main break beginning today. We are starting our water main repairs. It'll be East Street, Ogden, and going to 4th. Under expenses, chemicals for the water department, we do not use chemicals in our wastewater treatment plant. All chemicals purchased is for the water. It'd be the fluoride, the chlorine, that kind of things. That was $186.75. Testing through Test Inc. for our sewer department was $211. Testing for the water department, $1,550 of that was to test our fluoride, and that was $63.50. Under supplies, we had $330.07 to Core and Main. And then Win 911, it is annual software and support. That is for the water and sewer department. That is $600. And then under repairs, we had the valves, which were $9,352, which we did vote on. Sable Mechanical, we paid $623.75. And for 4 water main breaks, Northern Illinois Service was $11,766. Under engineering, we paid Strand Engineering $1,091.72, which includes a consultation with IDOT regarding Route 173. And that's all I have.
Is the 911 call then for the phone that,
Oh, it's called Win 911.
oh,
What it is if there's something that happens at the wastewater treatment plant, at the well, it kicks on and it calls.
that phone that was
Yeah.
passed around before?
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
So. No, and then I guess just kind of tie into a little bit, yes, we are moving through on the water main project. It's gonna start at East Street in Ogden. There is gonna be some traffic delays and interruptions, and so half of Ogden should be available to be in use, but obviously it's gonna have to go a lot slower. You're gonna have to work around other vehicles, stuff like that. Please anticipate just avoiding some of those areas or intersections they're working at. Hopefully, we're gonna start breaking ground in the next couple of days here. And I think we're anticipating about 6 weeks for completion of the project. So it's definitely something to be excited about.
Will there be any time where the water will be like shut off again, where we have to do a boil order?
No, that should not happen. The only time that happens if there's a water main break, and what they're gonna end up doing is they're gonna place the water main down, and then they're gonna end up doing the entire section before they transfer it over, and then live tap in. So we're gonna see very little interruption in service, actually.
Okay,
And then we'll make sure to let people know moving forward if that's gonna happen or if they have to worry about it.
all right, thank you.
Anything else, Trustee Berghorn?
No, sir.
Okay, Trustee Mendoza,
No comment.
thank you. Trustee Wakely?
Nope.
We're not moving into executive session. Mr. Green, do you have anything to talk on?
No report.
Okay, thank you. New business, do not believe there's anything new going on currently. I guess a little bit of an update though. The dairy barn is getting into the final stages of completion. So once I've got a date available, I'll go ahead and post that online. I wanna double check with the owners real quick, what date they're looking at opening. But we're getting closer, so hopefully within the next couple months, month or two at most, you'll be able to get ice cream there
Oh,
and
great.
enjoy a cone, so. And then, and actually, and I guess something to kind of talk them up a little bit too, because I was a little bit excited. Their ice cream they're gonna be having there is actually the chocolate shop ice cream. If you don't know what it is, if you haven't had it, look it up. It's actually really good stuff, so I'm kind of happy for that. Reports and unfinished business. I don't think there's anything we really need to touch on right now. We'll go ahead and open it up for audience comments. Yeah, sorry.
I just wanna let everyone know that the audit is underway. The auditor has been here several days, over the past few weeks and, is working diligently to complete our yearly audit, so we should have that, wrapping up earlier this year than it has been, so.
Okay, moving forward to audience comments then. It is now 7:19 PM. I'll give it until 7:23-ish, depending on how many comments we get in, and we'll kind of go from there. Yeah. And of course, just call into the village line, 815-569-2351 if you have anything to say. Or if you'd like to, we do have the chat function on our live stream right now that people could use as well.
Yeah, I think that one pothole's been patched like 5 times. By Casey's.
And honestly,
Rips all out.
yeah,
It just keeps getting further and further out.
and the problem with that one is we've got the trucks coming off of 173 that should not be using that entrance.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to stop them from doing so right now.
Well, then you get people that pull up that stop sign, they pull in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So, well, me with my truck, I don't care, I just go as close as I can, so, but I try to avoid that big pothole.
Oh, yeah, no.
So that's
And
what's
so
tearing it up.
realistically, we probably should have like an actual curb there and the road built up to prevent it from spreading like it is.
Yeah.
It's just, once you start getting into that it gets a little pricey, and then you're like, okay, if 173 comes through in, 4 years instead of the 6, did we just spend 30 grand for them to rip it up a couple years down the road,
I almost wonder if there couldn't even be an interim solution of like a small berm right there that just for,
Potentially, yeah, it's something that would help. We've got one comment, is Countryside what the multifamily housing is going to be called? I believe so, I believe they were calling it, yeah, just a Countryside subdivision, there it is. I'm pretty sure that'll be the name, at least that's the name of the documentation we have so far. But yeah, no, a berm or something.
or
to
just a
kinda-
small like piece of retention to
yeah,
kinda,
keep it from, I know the guys have looked into it a little bit, but with this well project right now, they've been absolutely
Oh, right,
swamped.
right.
Which is another reason we need Jason to kinda come over to that department and help them out there, cause yeah. Okay, so it's been relatively quiet, we got about 1 minute here, I'll start wrapping it up, I'll hang around in case anybody needs anything. Jason, or actually, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion.
If I get a second,
I'll second it.
and now Jason, can I have roll call?
Shirley Burkhardt,
Aye.
Ryan Wigley,
Aye.
Jessica Mendoza,
Aye.
Conrad Levinsky.
Aye.
Jordan Dorkson,
aye.
Camille Wilcox,
Aye.
Linda Wolfhard.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. The meeting's adjourned at 7:23 PM.
I can't prove it. Man, I didn't get anyone to say R2D2 instead of R2.
Oh, man, we're sorry.
I was hoping for a brain malfunction.
Yes.
This is from January to current. This was